Hello, welcome to part 3 of Modern Applied Psychology, and in this section I'm going to discuss training. People want to train in Modern Applied Psychology for various reasons. Some people want to know these tools and techniques to help them in their working environment, how to be able to navigate the complexity of dealing with managers, dealing with people who you're possibly managing, and being able to kind of rise a bit further along your career path. For other people, they want to be able to learn these tools as a kind of an advanced system of self-development. So learning about how your own brain runs and how your own brain works, learning about the deeper facets of your mind and being able to resolve things from your past and your history. I've had students report at the end of the first year that they'd kicked a drug habit that they'd had for 7 years, and we didn't even know they had it. So a lot of people kind of employ the techniques with their own lives. Personally, when I started my practitioner training, I'd been smoking since I was a child. I had a lifelong problem with hay fever, and at the end of my practitioner training, I wasn't a smoker anymore, and I never had hay fever again. So it's life-changing, very literally. Other people want to learn these tools because they have a burning desire to help other people and to want to be more effective in helping other people. So the emphasis on my teaching is on people helping. I know that there are kind of NLP courses for business and things like this. The context of the information being delivered is in education or in business or whatever. With me, the context is always on helping other people and enabling oneself to be an effective, compassionate person in the world. The training kind of borrows slightly from the NLP model in that there's section 1 or level 1, level 2. Level 1 is called practitioner, level 2 is called master practitioner. There are 11 training days and 1 exam day. And the reason that the teaching is spread out over a year, and it's 1 day per month. Now I know that there are some trainings in these kind of areas where it's compressed into like a 7-day block, or perhaps in 3 or 4 sections of 3 or 4 days through the year, like in quarters. I like to have my training spread out just 1 day a month, sorry. And the reason for that is that on a training day you learn new information, tools, techniques, and then that gives you a month to practice. Now, I want people to obviously understand what they're learning, but my desire with this isn't just to teach about modern applied psychology. I want to train people into having the skill. So it's not something that you know about, it's something you can do. I want it so that if you're following a road traffic, a car, and there's a road traffic accident, that you can talk to a person by the roadside, even though there are sirens and things going, and help that person to have a reduced propensity for a post-traumatic stress later on. If you're in a chip shop, fish and chip shop, and someone happens to burn themselves on hot oil, that even before an ambulance is called, you can do pain control technique with the person using hypnotherapy, and that person can have sort of relief from the sensation pending the arrival of the appropriate paramedics. So this is kind of roll your sleeves up stuff and get into the world. And a human experience, as you know, can be beautiful and wonderful and easy, and there are times when it can be rather difficult and problematical. So you need to be able to have tools that enable you to deal with the entire spectrum of human possibilities. And some of those can be rather difficult. We'll talk about that more in part 4. So there are 11 training days and 1 exam day, and there's a requirement for outside practice. Outside practice can be done with fellow students. It can be done with friends and family, or you can charge people a nominal fee if you wish to do that. I kind of recommend you do that. It will help you to offset the payment of the course. The insurance company that endorses my training also has a facility for student insurance as well. So even though you're an apprentice, you can kind of begin to work with these tools right from the very beginning. The minimum required external practice hours is 36 hours. and if you want to kind of get into the kind of the top flight area where you would have developed a high quality of skill, then aim for 134 hours, which is about 12 hours practice a month, which is 2 days, really, if you look at it like that. In the actual training itself, there is one of these. This is a training manual, the Practitioner Training Manual. It has a lot of information, diagrams, and exercises and strategies. It's quite a substantial document, about 270 pages, and both the practitioner and the master practitioner are about the same depth. There is an extensive reading list in the practitioner module and the master practitioner manual as well, but I like to be able to provide all the information that a person could need. So although I know some courses have a very thin kind of training manual, then an extensive reading list, that's fine. I think research is obviously an exceptionally good thing to do, but I still think that a course should provide everything a person needs, and then the book list is something that's in addition to having already received everything that you're going to need. There's a multimedia dynamic to the training as well. We watch a lot of videos. To begin with, it's very amusing. We watch comedians using language in various ways. I tend to find that people tend to learn more when they're enjoying themselves. And then it gradually transitions into watching video footage of hypnotherapists and NLP people at work. And so then we're looking at the art in a more technical way. In the practitioner and the master practitioner, there's an additional layer of training in that I've created small video clips just like this using this webcam of me either discussing techniques or demonstrating techniques, and at the end of each training day students are given all of these videos for that day's training. So not only do you have the written copy in the training manual, but you also have a video, and you can sit at home and you can watch the video of me demonstrating a technique and do the technique along with me. And so that helps you to get timing, that helps you to get phrasing, voice tones and things like this, and speeds up the learning. And I'm told by students that it's an invaluable resource, and so that also kind of adds to the ability to do these things and have a bit more fun as well in the process, which you can see if you ever watch these videos, because attempting to discuss certain techniques that require moving around, for example, while you're sitting stationary talking to a webcam is no easy task, believe me. So I had to employ some creative devices to be able to illustrate certain things. The course itself, like I said, is divided into two halves. The practitioner level is like an introduction. It's a foundation layer, really. Although some people just do practitioner and stop there. And you can just literally go and set yourself up and practice as a therapist if you wish to, and help people with all the tools you need just in the practitioner course. So the practitioner focuses mainly on the mind, language, communication, hypnotherapy, and is a very effective toolkit. But the master practitioner has more. The practitioner, in a sense, I guess you could describe it as discovering the music room. So we go into the music room, we go, oh, here's a piano, jum, jum, here's a drum, boom, boom. And then we do scales, da, 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 boom, 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 so forth. And so you can do things. In the master practitioner, we write symphonies and we play jazz. We get these concepts and we see, right, what can we do with this stuff? How can we get our own potentials and expand them? So the master practitioner has a broader depth to it. It includes a field called psychobiology, which revolves around the work of Ernest Lawrence Rossi. Each month there's an additional learning of psychobiology technique, which leads to a person being able to employ language to be able to stimulate the placebo healing response in a person and facilitate accelerated healing. There's also a spiritual dynamic to the master practitioner level as well. We look at concepts like the extended mind, Sheldrake's ideas of consciousness that reaches out beyond the physical skin, and Andy Clark's idea of wideware, which possibly leads to a sense of broadware. There are other kind of more esoteric ideas. There's a technique for discovering unconscious issues that need resolution, which is based on the Egyptians' weighing of the souls from the Book of the Dead. There's even a day of esoteric phenomena like past life regression, using hypnotic altered states to be able to have a deeper sensitivity to a person's aura, as well as more information about the psychology and language. We look at linguistics in a explicit, detailed, complex sense, and also a phenomenon called affective neuroscience. As you may know, over the last 20 years, computers have improved, and therefore brain scanners have improved. So there's been a great deal of development in the field of neuroscience. And as well as cognitive neuroscience, which looks at, obviously, brain structure, there's affective neuroscience, which looks at exactly the same phenomena, but from the perspective of emotions and feelings. This has led to a review of psychotherapy models in the psychotherapy world. So Freud, Jung, etc. have been revised from the perspective of what's been emerging out of neuroscience laboratories. Some of Freud has been supported, much of it has not been supported. So we'll look at issues like that, and what I guess could be described as interpersonal neurobiology. So we'll look at not just the idea of kind of language and hypnosis, but also the neuroscience behind these things. In the practitioner module, we discover the art of rapport. In the master practitioner module, we look at the neuroscience behind it. What's actually happening in the client's brain when you deliberately enhance rapport with that individual, and also what's happening inside the practitioner's brain at the same time. So we find that having a deeper understanding not only means that you can work more easily with people, but it also enriches you. For many, many years, I had the notion that, words can bring change, language can bring about change. And that sounds like a very kind of nice, sort of almost new agey thing to say. Here's a nice kind of piece of twee philosophy. Words change everything. We become what we tell ourselves. You see these sorts of phrases percolating through news feeds and things on Facebook. But when you understand and you know the precise details of what's actually happening in terms of when language is delivered to a human nervous system, how that actually changes things on a microcellular level in the person's brain, biochemically and synaptically, so that you understand that the architecture of a person's brain itself changes. That's a phenomenal thing to know and to have the details of it and to be able to support what you're suggesting with data and facts and research and knowledge. So there's also a psychosocial dynamic to the master practitioner as well. There's some external work that's done outside of the course called Researching Beneath the Surface, which uses psychosocial dynamics to be able to discover not just the conscious interaction between two people, but the unconscious interaction, and to be able to become more aware of what's actually happening underneath the threshold of awareness when you have an interaction between two people. Modelling projects are also undertaken, which is an approach to advanced and accelerated learning as well. It's a very, very busy module. Both the practitioner and the master practitioner have exams. The practitioner module has a written exam and 2 practical exams, one of which is demonstrating you can do a technique as is written from the manual, and then another example of you just working in your way. The Master Practitioner has both of those things, plus it also has a strategy elicitation project, a modelling project, and the psychosocial research project, as well as an example of a guided meditation as well. One would presume that if one is going to be a master, then you should be able to show that you can indeed live up to that title. So the certificates aren't just handed out. You have to pass your rite of passage and walk through the fire, and you really feel that you deserve those certificates when you've got them. The Master Practitioner does also look at some of the kind of the new sort of phenomena that have been emerging in the psychotherapeutic or talking people world, from a slight look at mindfulness, a little look at EDMR, and so forth. It's just so that students have a kind of a rounded perspective of what the breadth of model applied psychology can be. There's even an opportunity or an exercise for a student to offer a technique that they've developed themselves, and if that passes muster, then it goes into the next evolution of training manuals. So you never know, there could be an approach that you stumble upon, and then you think, hey, this is very effective. You write it down, pass it along, and then in the future other students could be assessed on whether or not they can confidently do what you can do naturally, because that's how training evolves. There isn't a kind of a set idea of this is how you help people. We are organic creatures, and we're constantly finding new ways of doing things. And so I tend to think that if a training course is going to teach people how to get on well with people, then it too needs to be organic and upgraded and updated. So the practitioner module generally tends to stay the same because it's the foundation level. The master practitioner can vary, and so every now and again there's a brand new kind of evolution within its training. So at the moment that's the kind of setup for the training courses. If you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch or write to map@davidrowan.co.uk, and I'll put all the website details and things underneath this video as well. You're very welcome to come along in any courses. On my website it doesn't give dates because I tend to build up waiting lists, and then where enough people are interested in a course, then we just run. There's also a possibility for a person being able to have a discounted course if you introduce students to the course yourself. So for details on that, please contact me and I'll happily tell you anything you need to know. So feel free to ask any questions, and thank you so much indeed for your time. I look forward to sharing this amazing toolkit with you and yes, taking you along new pathways. Thank you. Bye.